About a week ago, Donald Trump unveiled his long-promised, long-threatened Liberation Day tariff plan, a sweeping economic blitzkrieg levied against 90 countries, including close allies, and the result, global markets promptly collapsing like a souffle in a wind tunnel. But while Trump was teeing off in Jupiter, Florida, a curious thing happened. One of his most prominent allies, and perhaps his most valuable mascot, Elon Musk, little Elon Musk, decided to break ranks, a rank breaker. Softly, subtly, but unmistakably, and make no mistake, this wasn't just a tech baron, an oligarch having a wobble. It may be the first real crack in the edifice of MAGA Inc. So, with all good stories, this begins like Mrs. Thatcher with Milton Friedman. Musk took to his social media platform Twitter and shared an old video of Friedman praising the free market, particularly international trade and elegant interdependence of global supply chains. And it was, for those who noticed, a not-so-subtle repudiation of Trump's tariff regime. One might say the trousers of ideological unity began to quiver with the flatulence of revolt. And now it's worth remembering, Musk is no darling of the left. He heads the Department of Government Efficiency, the Trump-invented Orwellian agency, DOGE, that seems to exist solely to sack civil servants and dismantle institutions. But in the post-tariff chaos, it's become inconvenient. This isn't the first time he's deviated. On Saturday, Musk called for a zero-tariff free trade zone between the EU and the US, even suggesting greater freedom of movement between the continents. And the response from MAGA hardliners was, predictably, a mixture of confusion, ridicule, and coded rage. One begins to wonder whether Musk has drifted into globalist Elon territory, an accusation that for so long would have earned excommunication from Trump world, Trumpland. And let's be honest, he has reasons to be cranky. Trump's tariffs wiped trillions off the stock market, including $30 billion off Musk's own holdings, and Tesla's quarterly sales are down 13%. Protesters are picketing outside his showrooms, and Musk's Twitter, X, is being eyed for €1 billion fine by the European Commission. For someone so invested in global supply chains, Trump's new tariff fortress is less Liberation Day and more Liquidation Day. And pause to ask, is this really about ideology? Is this about free markets versus protectionism? In part, yes, but we mustn't overstate the purity of anyone's motives. Musk is not some Hayekian freedom fighter. He is, after all, a man whose wealth is so astronomical that if he lost 99% of it, he would still be richer than Rishi Sunak, who, I remind you, rerouted the national grid to heat his swimming pool. No. This is more primal. This is about who gets to own the future and under what rules. And tariffs, it seems, are Trump's sacred cow. He's been banging on about them since the 1980s. And unlike Project 2025, which was dreamt up in a think tank basement, tariffs are authentically Trumpian, visceral, simple, and economically dubious. But the consequences are not ambiguous. We are now in a global trade war. China has slapped 34% tariffs on American goods. The FTSE 100 crashed by 5%. The Hang Seng by more. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ have had their worst days since the COVID panic. Rachel Reeves, Britain's Chancellor, now finds her fiscal rulebook in tatters, her $10 billion headroom vaporized. She placed a Trussian bet on stable global markets and now must watch as the same market mutters, "Fool me twice," which brings us delightfully to Liz Truss. You'll recall, she tried to remake the British economy in 49 days using wishful thinking and borrowed money. The markets promptly rebelled. The lettuce outlasted her, and Kwasi Kwarteng was sacrificed on the altar of ideological purity. Instead of marvelling at his prodigious package, we mock him! Mock him! Mock! Truss's mistake? She misunderstood that markets are not political actors. They are, to borrow H.L. Menchen's phrase, a complex mechanism for transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. Trump appears to be making the same mistake. He believes tariffs can replace income tax, fund spending, rebuild American industry and punish foreign freeloaders, all while the Fed lowers interest rates and no one loses their job. It's voodoo economics with MAGA branding, and here's the kicker, even his own advisors like Elon Musk seem to know it. Of course, Trump will likely reverse course eventually. He'll declare victory, claim China blinked and insist it was all part of a brilliant negotiation strategy. But then, until then, the damage is real. Business confidence has cratered. Supply chains are being rerouted. Trade flows are constricting. Investors are panicking. The recession warnings are flashing red. Trump is Liz Truss! Liz Truss, and there's no prodigious package in the offing anywhere. Trump isn't hiding anything. It's all on full display. And Elon, he may be stepping back from the White House, but he's just stepped into something bigger. A pile of doo-doo, an awkward realization that even billionaires don't get to design reality. In the end, Musk's trouser wobble isn't just a sideshow, it's the canary in the coal mine. And when the richest man in America, who has more reason than most to stay loyal, starts sounding like a Brussels bureaucrat on trade policy, you know something's gone terribly wrong. Trump built his second presidency on the promise of economic nationalism. But his biggest policy is now tearing apart the very coalition that brought him to power. Why? Because he wants to ape Liz Truss, because he wants to be bigger than her lettuce. He wants to be the cabbage in the White House. Trouble in Trumpland, trouble indeed.